Welcome back to the Relaxing Ghost channel here on YouTube. As always, your host with the most, Ghost. This is going to be episode 7 of the Attitude Era review series today. King of the Ring 1998. And this show is famous for a couple of matches involving Mick Foley, The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell, also Stone Cold Steve Austin defending the championship against Kane in a first blood match. Before we get into today's video, take some time and subscribe, guys. Moving along here. So, this was a big show here in June 28th, 1998. We are at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, PA. I think it was known as the Igloo back then, or the Mellon Arena. But overall, this show is packed. There's over 17,000 fans in attendance. And I gotta say, going back and watching this show was pretty damn good. This show proved that WWE was chucking along. They were definitely creating new stars in The Rock and Ken Shamrock. Sable on the rise. Austin was definitely well on his way, but let's get into it, guys. I believe we got 10 matches this evening. We got 9 matches. So the show starts off with the Headbangers and Taka going up against Kai and Tai. It was, Dick Togo, Funaki, and might have been one of the other ones. And they are with Yamaguchi-san. So it's a quick match there in the opening contest. It's a good quick match, a lot of fast pace with Taka and the Headbangers. So the Headbangers get Taka up for an elevated splash. Taka hits the Michinoku driver, 3 count for the win. And I believe at the time Taka's still the light heavyweight champion, but it's being rarely defended around this time, and the title is almost dormant. Somewhere down the road, the title would, cease to be defended. Gilbert would win it, and Christian would be a champion, but they really eliminated the light heavyweight division around this time, and that would be the end of it. They would get into the more hardcore division with the European title. They would bring that up to par. So things were definitely changing in the WWF. Sable introduces Mr. McMahon at this time, and Mr. McMahon got a promo on Kane beating Austin tonight, becoming the champion. And when Sable's getting out of the ring, Pat Patterson, gives her a little tap on the derriere. Sable slaps his teeth out, and that was a pretty controversial spot there, in my opinion. But second match of the night, we got a King of the Ring semifinal match. Double J against Ken Shamrock. Shamrock, who was a monster at this time. So the match starts off, Double J trying to work the leg of Shamrock. Shamrock hits a few elbows, a couple of heel kicks, gets the ankle lock on him quick. Jeff Jarrett taps out. Shamrock would advance to the finals. And then right away, we got our second semifinal match. The Rock against Dan Severn. So, before the match begins, Kama and Mark Henry are asked to leave the ringside area. Dan the Beast Severin here, he's trying to work joint of The Rock, and The Rock stays close to the ropes, getting those quick breakups, and Godfather and Henry come back, they distract the referee. D'Lo Brown comes in, hits the lowdown, which is a version of the frog splash. He's got the chest protector on. Rock gets the win here, advancing to the finals, which would happen a little bit later on in the night. So a lot of things are happening here in the first couple of matches. You know, we got the chest protector being put over, which would definitely come into play around SummerSlam. I'm not sure exactly how long D'Lo had that on for. We'll see as we go along, but fourth match of the night is like a mixed tag match. It's more of a handicap match. It's Al Snow and Head against Too Much. We got Scott Too Hot Taylor and Brian Christopher, who is, you know, the prior version of Grandmaster Sexay. So before the match starts, they're looking for a referee. Jerry Lawler pops up, and he's wearing a ref shirt. This match was for Al Snow's contract in the WWF. So Al Snow gets the best of Brian Christopher several times in the early going. And Jerry Lawler isn't counting for Al. You know, he's talking to the people in the crowd. He's, you know, looking around like he's not paying attention. So Head gets tagged in. Al Snow hits them with Head. And he hits the snowplow on Scott Too Hot. Jerry goes outside the ring, and he gets a shampoo bottle of Head and Shoulders. So Brian puts the shampoo bottle on Head, and Jerry Lawler counts the 3 count on Head. So Al Snow doesn't get his contract. It's a pretty bad match, I would say, but you know, they were trying to put over Al Snow. This was a bad way to do it. Jerry Lawler, again, for the, you know, 3rd or 4th pay-per-view in a row, he's putting his nose into people's businesses, and I didn't like it. So, 5th match of the night here. We're about halfway through the show now. X-Pac versus Owen Hart. I really like this match. So, Owen has been previously busted open on Raw or something. He's got staples in his head. We got a good back and forth match with Owen hitting nice perfect plex. Both men end up on the top rope. Pac falls outside, Owen falls inside. At this time, Owen is a part of the Nation. Mark Henry runs down, hits a big splash on X-Pac. Chyna and Mark Henry are face to face. I forgot to mention this too, that Chyna is doing like triple duty tonight. She'll be in the next couple of matches. So Chyna and Henry get in a face to face confrontation here. Vader comes down, attacks Henry. So Owen has a sharpshooter on X-Pac. Ref's distracted. Chyna comes in, hits the DDT on Owen. X-Pac gets the win here. Pretty good match. A lot going on there with Vader and Henry, who had a match the month before. The Nation and DX are in the middle of their feud, which was just awesome. So before the next match, we got a Pallbearer promo on Kane saying that he will be the happily father of the new WWF champion when tonight is over. And this is something they don't do too much anymore, is those pre-match promos, seeding things throughout the night. And I don't know if I'll talk about this in episode 8 as well. You know, seeding things throughout the night. Getting those points across that you need to get to. Not just having, you know, match. Having, you know, a match, a segment, a backstage segment, an interview here and there. Trying to build character and build storyline. It's something WWE has failed to do in the modern era. And these days, it's something I want to see brought back. The pre-match interview, the post-match interviews. Something they definitely need to work on. So we got our second bonus match of the night. It's going to be the New Age Outlaws against the Midnight Express. The Outlaws are with China again, so China doing triple duty tonight. So the Road Dogg and Bob Holly start out. So we got Billy Gunn and Bart Gunn mixing it up here and there. And Jim Ross says that Billy Gunn and Bart Gunn are brothers, so definitely putting that over. So Jim Cornette trying to interfere here. He gets a low blow from China. Outlaws retain the title. This was a good match, you know, good quick match to put the Outlaws over pretty quick. But it's kind of weird that the tag team champions are in a bonus match, so to say. Seventh match of the night, we got the King of the Ring finals, The Rock versus Ken Shamrock. And we got Triple H on commentary with Chyna. This is her third segment of the night. And I believe Chyna is on, no, never mind. So, it's a great match. Rock hits the DDT. He hits a people's elbow. And Ken Shamrock keeps kicking out. Finally, locks up the ankle. And Rocky taps. No shenanigans in this match. No screw job finishes like we had at WrestleMania and at the Royal Rumble with The Rock. But Ken Shamrock finally gets a win over Rock. Very good match. I like the finish of it. Ken Shamrock kind of had playing possum there, laying down. He does this weird thing where he kind of grapevines the leg and trips Rock forward, locks the ankle in, and Rock taps out fairly quickly. Eighth match of the night. This is the big one. This is what definitely drew me into this pay-per-view. Hell in a Cell, Mankind versus The Undertaker. And I'm not going to really read my notes off on this one because everybody by now has seen this match. And this is going on almost 20 years ago to date. 19 years. So, Mick Foley comes out, and he's got a chair. Throws the chair on top of the cell, and he's climbing the cell. And Jerry Lawler, Jim Ross are saying, you know, I think he's trying to start this matchup on top. So he's up top, and then Undertaker comes out, and they're like, do you think he's challenging him to start up here? And eventually Undertaker climbs up. Mick's trying to get a couple cheap shots on Taker. Taker plows him again. Foley backs up. They're both up top now. And, not on this one, but on the Hell in a Cell anthology, they got a great shot of up top of the cell with both guys up there. So, they're walking along the top of the cage. They almost break through one of the top of the cell area. They're battling back and forth. Next thing you know, there goes Mankind flying off the cell through the Spanish announce table. We all thought this match was over and it hadn't even begun yet. Stretcher comes out, McMahon comes out, Briscoe, Patterson, Terry Funk's out there. They're raising the cage while Undertaker's on it. And this match is over. Everyone thinks it's over. So they lower the cage so Undertaker can get off. Foley is now in the aisleway on the stretcher. He gets off the stretcher. They climb up again. Chokeslam through the middle of the cage. And at this point, they thought Foley was dead. They try to get him in there again with Terry Funk and all that. Terry Funk gets a chokeslam. At this point, they get everyone out of the ring. They get all the doctors out. They lock the door. And this match, I think, officially begins around this point. I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorite Hell in a Cell matches to go back and watch. Mick Foley was probably knocked out by now. His arm is dislocated. He's got a tooth through his lip. His face he's got internal bleeding. And, he tries to pick up these stairs. He can't. His arm just has no strength in it. Taker, at one point, goes for a suicide dive. Just eats the cage. And I don't know if Mick Foley fell over or what. But that might have been one of those miscued spots. And Taker's busted open. Mick Foley by now has the thumbtacks. Spreads them around. They're teasing the spot. And Foley backs up into it. And Taker picks him up. Back into the corner. And back on the tacks. Awesome spot. Mick Foley has the claw on. Or that's how it goes. Mick Foley has the claw on. And then he backs him onto it. Chokeslam. Tombstone. Undertaker wins. This is a hell of a match, guys. Go out of your way to watch it today. But this wouldn't be the end that we've seen of Mick Foley tonight, and or the Undertaker. And the main event for the WWF Championship, Stone Cold Steve Austin defending his championship against Kane in a first blood match. And if Kane loses, he's going to set himself on fire. Wow. So both guys come out, and early on in the match, they're lowering the Hell in a Cell match, or they're lowering the Hell in a Cell. And Jim Ross is saying, we've seen enough of the Hell in a Cell for one night. And for most of this match, the Hell in a Cell is about, 3/4 of the way down. It's kind of just hanging there. It's a really cool visual. And they're incorporating the fact that Austin is just wearing his trunks and boots. Kane is pretty much covered up from head to toe. And he usually has one of his arms exposed. He only has his one hand exposed. Austin, he gets a scrape on his back. It's not going to be stopped for a bloody nose or a bump knee or nothing like that. So Kane is trying to choke Austin out on the cell. He's ramming him into the cell several times. Austin is bashing Kane's skull in with a steel chair. And somewhere down the line, the referee gets bumped out. Austin is pummeling Kane with a chair. He gets bumped out. In runs Foley. Austin hits a stunner on him. In runs Undertaker. Undertaker and Austin both have chairs. Undertaker wallops the chair into Austin's chair, and he gets bumped out of the ring. During this time, Austin would get busted open. So, Kane comes back in. Undertaker knocks him out. Undertaker tosses the ref back in, and they're dumping gasoline all over Earl. And, it's one of those creepy things that you watch during professional wrestling. And, you know, Earl is revived by this gasoline being dumped over him. He sees Austin battling Undertaker, Kane, and Mankind, and he sees Steve is busted open, rings the bell for the new WWF champion, Kane. Austin is very pissed off. I believe he hits the stunner on the ref. He hits another stunner on Foley. He's pissed off by now. As we know now, the next night on Raw, Austin would challenge Kane for the title, saying, "It wasn't you that busted me open. It was a shot from The Undertaker. I'm challenging you for the title tonight." Kane accepted during those terms, and Austin would win the belt back the next night on Raw. So, short run for Kane. I did like the quick title change there. That's one of those times where it does work, and it's pretty cool. Overall, a pretty solid show. Definitely give it a thumbs up, guys. This was a pretty awesome show to go back and watch. Hell in a Cell and the First Blood match definitely make it, you know, one of those classic shows that you have to go back and watch. This is going to wrap it up for the King of the Ring 98 review. Take some time and subscribe, guys. Be sure to check out the older episodes of the Attitude Era review series on the channel here. And stay tuned for episode 8, Fully Loaded, 1998. That's all for today, guys. We'll talk to you later. Peace.